Let me just share a couple more specific things regarding the baby step ideas. So my philosophy, my orientation is that in the vast majority of cases, not every single case, but in the vast majority of situations that people find themselves in, where they want to move forward, but they feel stymied or stopped or limited or even perceive, say, impossible to move forward in the direction that they want to go in. The vast majority of cases, there's some baby step that they can take. And if the baby step that they pick is still feels too difficult or feels too uh whatever arduous or difficult, whatever, then they can always scale it down, scale it down, scale it down to the point where even it may seem absurd when you get to something so tiny. But my thesis on this whole idea is that no matter how small you get, it's still significant. And the reason it's significant is because when you take action on something, even in the most minimal kind of way, you're not just acting in the physical 3D universe. You're acting in a larger dimensional universe because you're
Mhm.
communicating with spirit that you are in your intention. Your intention is to move forward. And the universe listens, God's spirit universe listens to those actions. And it takes those actions much more seriously in a Capricorn type of way. It takes those actions seriously, more seriously than if you simply have a hold an intention and a thought. I'm not discounting intention and thought, but the baby step action is at another level. It's elevated to another level. Now, I also have this viewpoint, and this has been borne out again in practice hundreds of times, that once you take that one baby step, no matter how tiny it is, a result occurs on a subtle but important internal level within you. Something changes inside you where you now are looking at your situation from a slightly altered point. In other words, you're already on that trajectory, even though it might be called a micro commitment or microscopic commitment, but you're now have begun that new trajectory and you're microscopically on that trajectory. And I'm going to be very concrete with you in a moment because I'm a Taurus. So I'm going to be very, very concrete in one moment. Just hear me out though. Now, you take that one baby step, you feel a little bit differently, even if it's only subtle. You feel better. You feel like you've taken action, you're moving forward. And now you're looking through a slightly altered lens from where you are. You've got a slightly altered perspective in terms of the landscape that you're looking at. All right. So then if a day goes by, 2 days, 4 days go by, and you take another baby step, the same as you did the first time, maybe the same level, maybe smaller, maybe larger, it doesn't matter, but you're taking one more baby step that may in fact seem insignificant, but it's never insignificant. That's the point. The point, it's never insignificant. When
Mhm.
you take that second baby step, you're once again reinforcing that energy momentum and affirming that trajectory, that new trajectory. Now, if we fast forward just a tiny bit, say after 4 or 5 of these tiny, tiny baby steps, that to an outsider looking in might see, come on, this is a joke. This won't do anything. Completely false, completely untrue. After 4 or 5 of these baby steps, you're no longer in that same territory and you're not even
Mhm.
seeing the same thing anymore. You're not even looking at the same landscape at all. Okay. And you've also given yourself a subconscious message that you can begin to develop a new habit, a new pattern, a new level of consistency, moving where you want to go. So
Mhm.
your belief system has altered too, from I don't know if I can move forward on this path to I am moving forward on this path. I am already taking action and I'm already seeing results. Okay. So we have a term in life crafting called the confidence success spiral, which is the energy vortex, the spin, the energy vortex. And you've now stepped onto the confidence success spiral, and you're now beginning to build, some momentum, and you're feeling excited. And that is in turn accelerating, not just building, but accelerating the forward movement that you can take. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the perceptual reality. Now, again, an onlooker from outside might say, well, this is all really good, Howard, but creating a level of consistency with forward movement, is elusive to a lot of people. They'll take a step here, take a step there, and all well and good, but it oftentimes fizzles out, and it's not ultimately really consistent. And I say, yes, that's true, and is the norm in human nature. That is the norm, and that is the most common right result and manifestation, but not in life drifting. Why is it different in life drifting? Because we have something called the promise game. We have this thing called the promise game. And in the promise game, you are already creating the structure of consistency just from playing, no matter what happens in the game. It does not matter. You are building consistency, and you're building the repeated ability for the continued increased momentum and acceleration. And you're having and and you're having a good time doing it. You're enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
You're enjoying Anna, you're enjoying the guidance, the conversation with Anna, you're taking steps. And then if you fall off the cliff, after the fifth promise, you fall off the cliff and you have a really bad day or a really bad week. In the normal course of events, you'd say, I'm defeated, but it doesn't happen in the promise game. Why? It doesn't happen in the promise game because, number one, you can renegotiate any promise.
Mm-hmm.
There's no thing that you can renegotiate a promise even 5 times, even 8 times. It doesn't matter. You are engaged. That's the key. You are engaged in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens if you have a really, really horrendous week or whatever, and you break a promise? What I mean by breaking a promise is that not only did you not complete the promise, but you also didn't renegotiate the promise. So it
Mm-hmm.
looks from the outside like a truly a broken promise. And now you betrayed yourself, and on and on and on. All the various stories, all the various Capricorn type stories that arise in your head kind of start filtering in, but not in the game. Not in the game. That's why I invented it. It breaks the entire cycle of all of that. All
Mm-hmm.
judgment is gone. All judgment is gone. Why? Because we view the broken promise, which is the most extreme example of a breakdown in a forward movement. We don't view it the same way most human beings view it. We view it as only a learning experience, as only something to empower you forward. And we've structured the debrief or protocol that's associated with the extreme case of a broken promise. So you wind up coming out of the debrief soaring with excitement, soaring with a desire to move forward, with excitement. Why? Because we use various different tools of consciousness. We use forgiveness. We use various other tools so you can let go of limiting beliefs. You can forgive yourself, and you can reaffirm your intention and your desire to move forward with the
Mm-hmm.
baby steps. So it's a healing, transformative experience going through the broken promise instead of a betrayal, a defeat, of all these
Mm-hmm.
stories that people make up. Now you're back on the game board. You finished the broken promise. You're back on the game board. You start a new cycle, and now it's fresh. So my point in all of this is that as you move forward with this, No matter what happens in the game, you win. You win
Mm-hmm.
because you're always learning. Now you could run away to Nebraska and live in a small town and never speak to Howard Sample ever again and never log into your Promise Game account ever again. And you would then succeed at self-sabotaging yourself. So I'm not making some sort of ridiculous claim that this stops people from self-sabotaging. No, no, no. That would be absurd. People will self-sabotage. If you're determined to self-sabotage, you will. There's no
Absolutely.
question because
Absolutely.
if that's your highest intention or your greatest commitment, then you will. You will. But in a very large percentage of time, you will the support structure that we provide, the love and the support structure that we provide, and all these amazing tools that are embedded and intertwined with that support structure become will prevail because they work. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, the human element is there, not just Anna with her clever support and feedback, but also the human element so that it's all wrapped in this loving cocoon, whatever. Okay. So now let me get specific with you in your particular case and give examples here of some baby steps. So just to give you a frame of reference, because everything I've said so far is all very abstract, and we don't want to be abstract.
Well, you're talking to an Aquarian, so
Right,
abstract doesn't faze me.
right. You can appreciate abstract, but then we
Mm-hmm.
get back to Capricorn and Taurus. We want to get back to the Earth
Mm-hmm.
element. Okay, so let's make a couple of basic assumptions. So let's say before you got into your car to drive to one of your long drives to the doctor that you've been taking recently. Let's say you did one thing that took 5 minutes, that took just 5 minutes of time. And this just is one example of a baby step. I'm not claiming it's the only baby step. Who knows, you could have 20 different baby steps. I mean, you could be more creative on baby steps than I can be. Uh, but my point is that if you made a decision that you want to work with Kathy and I on LEMD, and it was just a matter of the timing element and building momentum and taking action, whatever it is. So let's say you took 5 minutes and you went on the website on the LEMD website, okay, and you just signed up to be a brand partner. It's just very low cost thing, but you signed up to be a brand partner, and you got a welcome that you're now a brand partner. You didn't buy any products or anything really like that, so there's no in the big financial expenditure. But now, after you did that, you get in your car and you start to drive. You start to
Mm-hmm.
drive to your doctor. So, what's different now? It's all different. It's completely different because in your mind, you are now have taken a step. You've taken a step onto that trajectory. Now you're moving. Now your mind is starting to go, well, I'm a brand partner now. I'm a brand partner. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And you start thinking ahead on that on that trajectory of what actions you could take. What baby action, a baby action, and then a smaller baby action, and a smaller baby action, and you take them. And one of the things that actually impact your well-being, you when you take action on your desired trajectory in life, you affect both your emotional and physical well-being. Why is
Mm.
that? Why is that? Well, a very well-known spiritual teacher from many, many decades ago made this statement, which stuck in my mind. Okay. Health is a function of participation.
Mm-hmm.
Health is a
Mm-hmm.
function of
Mm-hmm.
participation. When you're active and you're engaged in something you love that you're dedicated to, it feeds you an amazing, incredible, life affirming energy.